What's up, everyone? I'm Cracka Lack. Welcome to Crack House Recording Studio. Come on in. All right, you guys, here we are. This is where the magic happens. This is where everything goes down. Right here, we got the big logo, the infamous, the Crack House logo. Shout out to Be Unique for the logo. This is the Wall of Fame. So I started with one board. I believe it's maybe over here. This is everyone that's recorded here. I always ask them to autograph the wall. It makes it special. It makes it more of a memory and experience. You've been to the studio, signed the wall. As the studio got more popular, more clients came to the studio, I added a second board, then eventually it was a third board, and then now we had a whole entire wall. I'm gonna continue to take these with me to the next studio. All right, we got the two black couches. As you see, the vibe of this room is very black. It's got black ceilings, black walls, the dark gray flooring, black couches, black desk, black table, and then we complemented it with white everything else. So we got the white panels. These were DIY. Me and my girlfriend, I have a great girlfriend, she sat there with me and we ordered all these panels, which I believe are rock wool insulation panels. I ordered multiple packs of them. I think they come in packs of 4, maybe packs of 8. And then we went to Joann Fabrics and got some white cloth fabric, wrapped them. And this is a heat transfer, I believe. It was kind of iron on. We got the logo, branding 101. You gotta Crack House everything, right? We're back by the booth. Before we go in the booth, again, we got the Crack House business cards all over the wall. It looks like a wallpaper type thing. This is the Cracka Lack Wall of Fame. Just different studios that I've been to, different celebrities or industry people that I've worked with. I have like the old portrait style pictures that I went and got printed off at Walmart. And then we took the Sharpie and wrote down the artist's name and then whatever city and state that I was in, or the name of the studio and then the city and state. Here is the booth. It should feel and sound very dead in here. It's really quiet. So when we built the booth, there is this rock wool insulation inside the wall, and then after the drywall, and I believe it's double drywall, we also still did these panels. I went with like the checkerboard, half of them dark gray, half of them white. The mic that I have is a Neumann, however you say it, TLM 103. I've had this mic for about 3 years. Prior to this mic, I had, I think, an Audio Technica or an AKG, like a $300 mic, and that was solid. That lasted me about 5, 6, 7 years. And then when I remodeled my studio and I was looking to also upgrade not just the look of the room, but actually upgrade the sound and the quality, getting a new mic was the first thing that I did. This is very good. I've seen this in a lot of other well-respected engineer friends and colleagues of mine. They use this same mic in their studios too. So it's kind of like the icing on the cake that, okay, I need to get one of those. And also this brand is really popular and trusted in the whole studio environment and space. Before we get to the desk and the computer and all that, up here, studio vibes. I always said smoking weed in a studio is like chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant. They just go together. And with this studio being a suite inside a building, they don't allow smoking on the property at all whatsoever. So I had to get creative and find a way around it. And I went to a grow store and I was saying, hey, if you were trying to smoke weed in your apartment and it's not allowed in there, what would you do? And so they got this carbon filter air purifier system, and pretty much it sucks the smoke up through the carbon filter, filters and cleans the air, and then it spits the clean air outside. So it gets all the smoke out of here, and it doesn't just blow the smoke outside where it's gonna smell like it. It's gonna be the clean air that goes outside. It gets hot as hell in here. This is an air conditioner. Normally all the Crack House merch, we have, like hoodies and t-shirts and stuff. Normally that stuff goes here, but it's a good thing that it's all sold out. Now the desk. This is a custom built desk. I recently got this maybe about a month ago, and it's got the Crack House logo literally into the wood right here. I was looking to get like a pre-made studio workstation desk. I couldn't decide, and I really just wanted something more simple and clean, but I just wanted really big and a lot of space to work, and that's exactly what this is. The computer, again, all you really need is a solid, maybe like anything above like $1,000-ish computer will get the job done. But yeah, this is a custom built computer. We built this about 4 months ago. I'll list the specs in the description because I honestly have no idea. I don't remember at the time. Put a lot of thought into it. I want to say it's 32 gigs of RAM or so. I'll list all that in the description. I know one tip with computers is ideally you want to have a separate hard drive, like at least like a SSD drive, or they even have the M2 super fast SSD, like it looks like a stick of RAM, and that's what I have in there, a terabyte of that. And that's where you install Windows, all of your programs, plugins, and then you get a second hard drive, like a second SSD hard drive. And then that's where you'll store all of your files. So like all of your beats, your songs, your sessions, store those on a separate hard drive. And I have a 1 or 2 terabyte SSD drive in there. And that's where I store sessions, I store my beats. For my monitors, I have Yamaha HS8. I have the white one with the look of the studio. You know, you guys see there's white everywhere. Cracka Lack, cooking crack, rap stuff. The white was a must. We got the white chairs. These are all from Amazon. I want to say about $115 to $160 a piece. Got 3 white chairs in here. Got a black table for people to sit at, eat, enjoy whatever. This was from IKEA for about $200. With these speakers, these studio monitors, prior to this, I had some M Audio BX8s, and those lasted me about 10 years. And I was told that that's the average life of a set of studio monitors. And I've had these for maybe 2 to 3 years now. I like the way that these sound. They're really clean. They're really flat. If you get speakers that are super bass heavy, if you're mixing down beats, you might turn your bass down. The speakers sound like there's so much bass, but really there's not. For my interface, prior to this, I had a Focusrite. A Focusrite was solid. Sometimes I would get some skipping, glitching, lagging, 1 out of every like 20 times I hit record. And so with this interface, Universal Audio, great reputation, very popular, well-respected company. I seen this right here in so many producers' videos and in their home studios and their setups. It's about $1,000. Good quality, clean signal. I highly recommend it. Again, very common. You can see that in a lot of different studios. So we have the mic runs into the Apollo, the interface. Just look at this as like the sound brain of your computer. Everything kind of plugs into this. Then right here is a Mackie big knob. We use this to control the speakers. You can actually have 3 different sets of speakers hooked up to it, 2 headphones. Also, what's key that we were missing for a long time was the talkback button. Before this investment, if someone's in the booth, and remember it's pretty well soundproof and the door is shut, I'm just turning around and screaming, "Do it again, a second time." Now it's, you just press the button, talk, love it. You can control your headphones. So a lot of artists in the booth, they want their headphones loud as blowing their eardrums out. So if you don't want your headphones to be the same volume, you can turn yours down, turn theirs up. Programs that I like to use for beats, it's always been FL Studio. I've been on Fruity Loops since like Fruity Loops 4, Fruity Loops 3 maybe. So I've been making beats for about 17, almost 18 years. All I've ever used is FL Studio. I love FL Studio. So if you guys want some FL Studio tips or tutorials, let me know in the comments so I know what tutorials to make. For recording vocals, I use Nuendo. It's basically like Cubase, similar to FL Studio. I use those because when I bought my first ever interface when I was 15, it came with a free version of Cubase. So I learned how to use Cubase. I got familiar with the layout of it, where everything's at. And so as I like continued to grow, I continued to use Cubase, and I bought a different version of Cubase. And Nuendo is basically the same thing as Cubase. You can open up Cubase projects in Nuendo and Nuendo projects in Cubase. They're made by the same company, which is Steinberg. This right here is a MIDI controller. So when I'm making beats in FL Studio, you know, you load up a VST, like a piano or whatever sound you want. And right here is where you just control the way it sounds. Probably one of my favorite pieces in this whole studio is this rug right here. About 3 years ago, the end of 2018, I completely remodeled the studio with the Crack House branded everywhere. It had this open floor space. And I was thinking, man, one of those custom rugs would be dope. And so I just went to Google and searched custom printed rug. And I found a website that was, I believe, customdoormats.com, something like that. And I got this rug right here. Pricey though, it was almost $400 for this rug, but having a custom rug with your logo in your studio, it's worth it, man. It's still in good condition too after 3 years. To get the studio vibe, if there's not one of these in the studio, it's hard to create that vibe, man. This is just those RGB LED strips that you can get on Amazon for like $15. When you just do one row, it's only so bright. Well, if you do one row and then you turn it and go back and now it's double, it's, you know, twice as bright. So we have 2 rows going along the entire edge of the ceiling, and they all just keep plugging into one another. And the beautiful thing is you can change the color to whatever you want, red, blue, green, any color. I like the teal. And so that's the cool studio lights. It's just a bunch of those $15 Amazon RGB LED light strips, and there might be 20 boxes of them in this room. Also over here, when you look at the desk and you see it glowing, along the back of the desk, I have about 4 rows of the LED lights going across, and also behind the TV, it's got the lights. My favorite sign, the only sign in here, shut the f up, I'm mixing. How many times have you ran into, you got some people in your studio, everyone's talking, the music's up, so you turn the music up more so you can hear it, and everyone just starts getting louder. Now you can't even hear what you're doing. And when you have people in here paying hourly to get their songs to sound good, you have to hear it. I've talked about getting a sign like this for over 10 years, and now I got one. All right, you guys, so that was about it for the tour. If I left anything out, just ask me in the comments and I'll get back to you guys. But I wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed. So I'm 32 years old. This is not my first studio. My first studio was in my bedroom, like I'm sure a lot of you. And I used to have cup holders all over my wall. When I was about 15, a movie came out that was called Hustle and Flow. Whoop that trick. In the shot of their studio, there's cup holders on the wall. So I thought, oh, okay, cup holders are soundproofing or acoustic treatment, whatever. And I had a friend that worked at McDonald's, and we used to go through the drive-thru every single night for about a week, and we'd collect 10 one night, maybe 15 the next. And eventually I had about 100, and they're all over my wall. They didn't do an absolute thing to the sound or make it sound better at all. Speaking of that, these panels hanging on the ceiling, they really do make a difference. When we first remodeled the studio and I was in here just making beats, it sounded like I was in a club, and I knew like I got to do something with the, you know, the soundproofing or the acoustic treatment, because it doesn't sound good. It sounds like, you know, again, like I'm inside an empty club. Out of all the different panels in this room, the ones that make the most difference that you can hear is above. And I also have these RLX foam pads that the speakers sit on. I got panels on the back wall that also made a difference. But yeah, my first ever studio was, again, cup holders on the wall. We used to have a $10 computer mic, didn't know how to use any type of DAW, and we used to have a CD player playing instrumentals loud, and the speaker would just be close to the mic, and then the person would just have to come up and rap while the beat's playing in the background. There was no recording, mixing, none of that. It was just one take. If someone messed up, you had to redo the whole song. That was the first ever studio. Then it moved to a better studio. I remember my second studio, in the booth I had mattress topper, like the 2-inch thick memory foam mattress topper inside my booth. That did make a difference. Before, the booth was very reverb sounding with just drywall, and the mattress topper helped. I've had maybe a handful of other home studios before this, and this is my first ever in a public building, not non-home studio. So right now, if you're in a position where you're thinking, man, I've had the home studio for this long, I'm thinking about actually renting a place, let me talk to you about my thoughts. So when I had a home studio, my rent for a studio was $0. When I was first approached about moving my studio to a place like this, like a public place, and then pay rent, my thoughts like, why on earth would I ever do that? I already have a studio, I already have customers coming to my house, and I didn't see a problem in it. Eventually, I decided that this was the move to make, and I remember my first week into it, having people show up and use this public hallway bathroom. And I remember after just 1 week of being here, I said to myself, I'll never in my life have a studio open to the public like in my home. Just being out of your house in an environment like this, it's just, I think it's respected more, it's more professional. You don't have a bunch of random people like in your house. All right, you guys, so that's about it. Cracka Lack, this is Crack House Recording Studio as of 2021. This is my studio tour. I have a feeling that I'm gonna be seeing you guys again real soon here to do another one of these. Subscribe if you're not already. I'll see you guys next video. Cracka Lack TV, we out.